What's going on, everyone? I'm J.U. Kalkrick, former running back at Michigan State University. After college, I was blessed with the opportunity to play 5 years in the NFL for the New York Jets, San Francisco 49ers, and my hometown team, the Buffalo Bills. Now I'm a proud member of Team Zenith. With the Live Your Game spotlight, we turn the cameras on deserving coaches and players around the country to show us how they live their game. On this edition of Zenith Live Your Game Spotlight, we continue to celebrate the month of March, which is Women's Month, by shining the spotlight on the Women's Football Alliance. Today, we're joined by the president of the Maine Mayhem, Alicia Jeffords, as well as the owner of the DC Divas, Rich Daniels. Hello, you two. How are you guys doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good to be here.
Good. Thanks for jumping on with us here today. We appreciate you guys taking your time. And like we said, this is an exciting month for us that we can partner with you guys. And like I said, excited to jump into it. So we're going to just kick things off by asking the two of you, what does this league mean to you, and how did you get started in the WFA? We'll start with you first, Alicia.
We got started in the WFA. We actually started in the IWFL because that was the league that the previous Maine team was in. So once the league, the IWFL, disbanded, we joined the WFA, and it's been amazing ever since then.
Great. How about you, Rich?
My story goes back to 2001. When I was the sports director at Channel 7, the ABC affiliate here in Washington, D.C. And we got a release that a team called the DC Divas was going to be playing a tackle football game for the first time ever, May of 2001. So we went to do a story on it because our curiosity was certainly piqued. So that minute 30 story on the 6 o'clock news in 2001 turned into this conversation today, with a few stops in between. A couple of different leagues. As Alicia said, we were originally in the NWFL. That was a little too close to something called the NFL. And so some people besides us decided that had to change, and it became the NWFA, where we were champions in 2006. And then so our journey has continued along the way, and we're proud members of the WFA. So my experience came from telling the story and then working in some PR work, trying to do some community relations help, turned that into being a general manager, and then a couple of years ago, now becoming the owner or the team president, whatever the chief cook and bottle washer, right? Whatever the term is, we do it all in our world.
Alicia, I want to jump into your team a little bit. You're a player as well, correct?
Correct.
You're a fullback, right?
I'm a little bit of everything. I've been playing for 16 years. I wear a lot of hats for this organization. When the former Maine team disbanded, we weren't going to have football here in Maine. So in 2016, a group of us players and coaches started the Mayhem. So that's how I became an owner, because really there wouldn't be football in Maine if we didn't start the Mayhem. So
yeah, I was reading a little bit about the Maine Mayhem, and it's a unique structure to it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a structure that's owned and run by the players, correct?
Correct.
Can you go into a little more detail about that? Because I think that's really fascinating. The players have their stake of ownership within the organization, and they can have their say, what goes on with the organization.
It definitely keeps all of the players invested in the team. Our success is strictly driven on their help recruiting, their help fundraising. We have a lot of structured fundraisers in place so that a lot of our players do not pay to play. They actually, if they reach their training fee, they end up getting checks from the organization as fundraising incentives. So it's really, really, really important to have everybody all in so that this works. We're a small market team, and our success has been on the backs of everybody that has put in the work on and off the field. And it's a board run team, so we don't have a sole proprietor. So the decisions are made by 5 board members. So it's not one person's decision making, thinking that's the best for the team. We have 5 of us, and 4 of which are players.
All right, so this question is for both of you guys. I'll start with you, Rich. This past season was canceled due to the COVID-19 virus. But the league is back, this season with kickoff in May. What's the excitement level right now with the players and owners? How's that buzz going around the league right now?
Well, you played, you know how you know what it's like. The closer you get to, you circle that first date, right? Once the schedule finally comes out, and there's been some, as you're well aware, with COVID, all the challenges that go with that on any level of team sports during this period. So we were unfortunately did have to postpone the 2020 season, but I think the good news is the majority of everyone who was ready for 2020 is doing everything they can today and tomorrow and the next day to be ready for the 1st of May, and to do that as safely as possible. Football is a contact sport, as we all know, but initially that's the least of our efforts, right? And that'll come, and it'll come more with people to people versus inanimate objects or air, which there's been a fair amount of that given the distancing and so forth. But again, I think that what I've seen is a lot of people from Maine across the country in our league, and even into Canada, that are doing really remarkable things, not only on the individual team basis, but you think about the collection of individuals that it takes, right, from work and family and all the concerns and things that we all have faced at different degrees. And now collectively as a team, I think this has been a real bonding opportunity and a real way to lean on each other, maybe in a little different way and a little stronger way to help pull you through. And having those games certainly is a huge incentive. And so we're taking steps. We're not taking as many as we would normally take or as often. And that's designed to hopefully, we all want to be there safely, whether we're playing in it or not. We all want to be at that Hall of Fame July 23rd and 24th at Tom Benson Stadium to see that weekend unfold. And I know, Alicia, of course, we're competitors. We both want to be there playing in it and part of that. But if I could go back and just commend her on her structure of Maine, and how I think that more and more people hopefully will begin to adopt aspects, or in some cases completely, the model that has gone forward. We're moving this year to a nonprofit. We've done that. We're going to start with scholarships, as a basis. There's always been that team fee or training fee on every team across the country, and in some cases, thousands of dollars. And my opportunity as an owner, I feel, is to find every which way to lower that, level that, eliminate that, and move towards a structure where more people from outside in, instead of just inside, helping to sustain and grow. And you see that attention that you're giving us. You're seeing that attention from all types of different ways. And I hope that'll manifest itself with the mechanisms that Maine has set up, with some of our movement this year, to help make it a more level playing field for everybody who does this.
Just providing opportunities. I fell in love with this game, and my structure is all about finding ways to provide opportunities for women to play this sport and fall in love with this sport just like I did. And that opportunity hasn't always been there. So I don't want money to be an objective. I don't want anything to come in the way from them doing something that they might not have thought that they could ever do. So that is really important to me. And that's kind of what I preach, is just providing opportunities and taking those opportunities. Like this is an opportunity for awareness, an opportunity to get the word out to somebody who might not know that we exist. And that's amazing. And I thank you guys for that also. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. You talk about opportunity for awareness. The WFA has been around for a while. And I know, speaking to the last group that we did this spotlight on, I talked to them about how I stumbled into the WFA by, I was on a trip in Pittsburgh and went to a championship game there against San Diego and Chicago, I believe. But not everyone, knows about the WFA at that level as, other sports and other organizations go. So what are some of the challenges that you guys feel the WFA is facing right now?
Well, we could. I'm sorry. I just think about the challenges as their opportunities, right? I think the opportunities are increasing, as Alicia alluded to. She wants to provide more of those, and I think more of those are coming after were so many challenges that were inherently there for any women's team sport in our country. The U.S. soccer team has really broken through in such a good way versus every 4 years we wait for the Olympics and we root for everybody, including other countries and other athletes, right? You find those stories and you start to root for sports that you do not watch after the Olympics. And I think many people were in that habit, as we've evolved over the last 50 years now of Title IX, right? Of basketball being the first Olympic sport, not football, right? So we're having to catch up a little bit with our shape of our ball and what we do, but I think we are catching up. And whether it's flag or the representations of women coaching at all different levels, the NAIA and flag as a varsity sport, on the collegiate level, there's just so many things that have happened in the last year, 2 years, but really the last year is almost on hyperdrive of saying, all those challenges of the last 20 years for us. And then if you go back 50 years to Title IX, and then you can go back even further, right? 100 years of having the right to vote was this past year.
Right.
So all these things of when you're in the decade, progress can seem non-existent or slow. When you look back at the decade, I think there's been a tremendous amount and only more seemingly on hyperdrive right now, which I think is opportunity for us, to be seen at the Hall of Fame, to be part of Zenith and to be seen with you and other places. There's a lot of good things going on. And I think those challenges are now feeling more like opportunities maybe than they were more heavy challenges.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I love the way that you transitioned. You turn those challenges into opportunities with the WFA. Going, and now we're starting to see a lot of young women playing flag football, and now we're seeing women coaching in the NFL. We're seeing women officiating at the collegiate level, at the NFL level. Sarah Thomas was the first female to be an official in the Super Bowl, which is, something that's amazing and long overdue. So how does that make you guys feel as, pioneers of this league? And I feel like this league is something that's opening doors for these opportunities.
Being seen and having women in the forefront of all of this is letting all those little girls know that they can be that, because they haven't seen somebody who looks like them doing things like that. I consider myself a student of the game in any aspect that I can. So I coach, I officiate, I mentor some of these youth female football players who are playing on predominantly boys teams. I started the team, and all of that is I do that so that people can see that that is an opportunity that does exist for them. And being seen is the biggest challenge that we face. And again, it's an opportunity, because every time that you can get in that light to let others see you, that makes them know that they can do it too.
Yeah, the platforms, I've often said it's like, just like being off Broadway. Right? It doesn't mean you don't have a quality act. It just means you're on a smaller stage and you haven't had the production company or the partnership or the right sponsor or the timing, the quality of your production, right? After doing it for a while, all these different things that I think have gotten us one less off, from that Broadway feel. In the Hall of Fame, to me, that's like the NFL. That's our version, football's version of Broadway, and so we have that chance in a few months to ramp up to having a bigger stage. And then that experience, not only for everyone involved who hasn't had that experience, then also what it's going to, as you alluded to, what it looks like outwardly in, right? People seeing it for the first time, people seeing it on the national television broadcast, on DirecTV or whatever streaming service they might have to see it. People that are there in the community, right? Think about the thousands of volunteers that in 2 weeks from then will put on the whole Hall of Fame ceremony, right? They'll be part of our effort now. so there's a lot of levels of the big show, right? Of requirement, expectation, and I love the thought that after 2 decades, here it is, and it's up to us to step up and rise to that, and whichever way we can, and so that's part of the attention is the partnerships growing. There are more people that will be involved besides Secret is the main sponsor right now of our championship weekend. And there are others that are coming and that are interested. The Cleveland Browns will be part. I would expect the Cincinnati Bengals, given their proximity, will be next in line, right? Pittsburgh, I would expect the Steelers to be involved. There's just given their proximity, and then they're obvious, like Tampa Bay, putting $250,000 into flag football programs across their area. And I think you'll see more NFL teams start to do that with partnerships naturally with the tackle teams in these areas. New England needs to say, hey, we're next, right? They're spending all that money on free agency. Right? Patriots
Yes,
up there, they need to jump on a flag program. But that'll grow the game. And I don't mind anybody at a young age playing tackle football, of course, but our system's pretty well set up still to have your education paid for by playing something else, at least through college. And then, that's where a good many people still find their way to tackle and love it.
I know for a few years back, going back to that championship game that was at Heinz Field, that was the first women's professional game played in an NFL stadium. You go from that to getting, being on direct TV, like you said, getting games on TV, not just local broadcast, but actually on, on the national television level. And now a couple of weeks ago, the big news was released, and you've alluded to this a little bit, Rich, about the partnership going with the Hall of Fame and having the championship games being played at Tom Benson Stadium. What does that, partnership mean for the WFA and for, football as a whole?
It's huge. It's a huge opportunity. I've been fortunate to go to many championship weekends, and the energy in those stadiums is amazing because the passion is so alive with these teams and these women and these owners. And everybody there has, puts in so much work to get there, and to share it with each other is just amazing. So to do it on that level is going to be, I want to be a part of it for sure. And I think everybody else in the league definitely wants to be a part of it, whether they're in the game, which is all our goal, or whether we're there to experience it and be with other people who have the same passion and do this for that reason. And that's something amazing about this league, is that I find a lot of us build each other up. Even if we're on different teams or play against each other, behind the scenes, we're rooting for each other. And then when we face each other on the field, then it's game on. But I love that about this league. I love that about a lot of teams in my area. I've leaned into a lot of them, and I've helped a lot of smaller teams as well. But then when it comes to playing them on the field, prepare, because I'm ready and I'm prepared.
Exactly.
It's great to hear that excitement, because she can actually play, right? Not only have the experience of, feeling good about the opportunity provided for everybody she helps, but to actually step on that field, would be, as just an incredibly powerful. I mean, it's powerful to walk in an NFL stadium if you've never been in one. And it's certainly if it's full, right? And then if there's any, it's just an amazing experience. And even if it's not full, to walk in with that silence, to walk across, what would be the white line if it's off season, or, the point, right, is to get out of that tunnel is just, it puts chills up my arms just to talk about it. And I'm not anywhere close to one right now. Yeah, there's that sense of, as you said, the boys club, right? Well, I mean, football, if you think about it, what is the last one to be tackled, so to speak. That every other example you can think of, to my mind, has been represented at a very high level by either individual women or by a team in different leagues, collegiately. whatever the level is you want to look at, I think that there's been so many good representations of that, except football's the last one. And part of that reason why it's the last one is what you just said. Let's be honest about it. It was like, it's ours, you can't have it. Okay. It's one of the, right. It's this exclusive club that there was a period where the mindset was, you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. All those things that we heard and still occasionally do, right? You still run into that every now, which is all right. But more and more you don't. And I think all credit to the women who have played. We've been around 20 years. So I have 500 women I can think, right, that there's a lot of people across this country that have put so much into this and given so much sacrifice, dedication, time, talent, money, everything, relationships, jobs. I mean, just the level is just incredible, absolutely off the charts. And so now to have people like my esteemed colleague here have that chance personally after putting in that kind of time and that heart and that level of care that her people know she has, right? And the league knows she has it. That's another thing, like she said, that inspires other people in the league, when you see that type of passion and heart about it. So yeah, this is like a culmination. I mean, it's just the beginning, right? It's a 5-year deal, but we're talking about the next 50, not the last 50 or the last 20, as much as, hey, what about the next 20? And I think you're going to be really, if you think it's impressive now, hold on, hold on your hats, your helmets, because it's only going to get better and grow, and more people involved and more levels, and collegiately and high school, and flag's going to grow, and you're going to see more amazing things from women, and it won't be that first anymore, or in this case, it won't be thought of as last anymore. It'll just be we are.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like floodgates. Once they opened up, everything's just going to keep coming. And the residual effects of what we're doing right now for the eyes that are watching us, yes, and the little girls out there seeing all of it. And that's why I talk about being seen so much. It's because if we're not seen, they don't know the opportunities exist. We need to be seen so that they can see us and that they can be us.
Right.
Yeah,
and
I love it. We play for her. We talk about that, right? But the other thing too, yes, there it is.
There are some of my girls.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Alicia, you talked about the floodgates opening. You talk about Rich. You just mentioned we play for her, and that's something obviously that's near and dear to both of you, because you have the passion for it, and it's only going to get bigger. This WFA is only climbing to greater levels, and it's going to get a lot more views from young women. So, what would the message to young women that are watching and want to be one day, playing on that field, playing on TV, possibly getting a college scholarship to play the game of football? What message do you have for young women coming up to have the passion of the game of football?
I have so many things to say to them, and that's why we mentor them. We have 40 youth athletes that we mentor, and I love talking to them. But the biggest thing is to not let anybody tell you you can't, because you can. And look at the examples. You can. Simple as that.
I would echo. Yeah, I think that's the most direct, the beautiful thing, and I would also add to it is, while we play for her, we also play to open the eyes of the adults in the room, right? Because that goes back to your question and your premise. If we don't open those eyes along with the next generation, suddenly we skip a generation. You know what I mean? We've lost that opportunity, versus now we're engaged. I don't think there's any better example that I've ever seen than Alicia's engagement with the kids, right? I mean, she really lives the we play for her, right? And I'll go back to the thing about the adults in the room. It's like, I also play for them and what we're doing here, because that is part of it. It's education for all of us that are doing it, right? It's like ongoing for us, in so many ways, but it's also for the people we meet to open those minds a bit, to show that you can, show that we can, show that they can. And then once you get past that, and then invariably when a player knows the game and they start talking the game with somebody also that knows the game, the level of respect just immediately shoots up.
Right.
And then there's sports as a diplomat. When I've seen us go to other countries for world championships, right? The bonding that happens in such a short period of time while being competitive, as she said, absolutely competitive on the field, but then really having it's such a good diplomat.
Yeah.
Football, team sports, take it anywhere, take it wherever you can, as often as you can. And I'm glad that we're doing that with some of the world championships, which will be back in 2022 after missing this year. I think it'll be in Finland, was the last I heard. And that'll be the 4th time there's been a world championship competition for women since 2010. Again, if you asked me that in 2000, I'd be, wow, that's a great idea. But, who's going to do that, right? How's that going to happen? And now here we are. It's like you expect it. And now we're in Tom Benson Stadium, July.
Exactly.
And when their eyes are once their eyes are open, they don't look away. And that is the part that we need to get. We need to get their eyes on us, because we can keep their attention. I mean, we are doing amazing things. And when I say we, I'm talking about women in this game. So it just needs to, goes back to awareness. And
yes, and I think that open to say we would love to help. I mean, if you think about how hard, as working in the NFL, what a week's like, what a season's like, how hard you grind. What are you doing? You're trying to get better. You don't stop that just because you're at the highest level of what you do. And so more people that have understood that and achieved that and are doing that, lending back a helping hand to where we are in our growth, I think more and more of that will be seen in the near future, and very welcome,
Exactly.
Right? Very much welcome.
Yeah. And, I'm super excited, because I said, I had the opportunity to see, WFA, in this early stages, and now seeing where it's going, and I'm excited for it. And I know at Zenith, we're excited for the partnership that we have with the WFA to be, along there with you guys on the field, blocking to break down those barriers, break down those glass ceilings, open those floodgates, as you said, Alicia, and, continue, working together to get this game that we all love, on a platform that everybody can enjoy. So I would just like to take this time to thank you two for joining us today, and much success going into the season. And hopefully we'll see you guys at Tom Benson Stadium.
Yeah. I want to thank you, Zenith, too, because the partnership you've given my athletes has made them feel very important and seen and noticed. And my whole team is in Zenith. We're in Zenith everything. So we love you guys. So we thank you very much.
Yes, I would echo that 110%, because after all, right, it's football. It's 110%. It's not 100%.
Exactly. Alicia, I need you to do me a favor, though.
Yeah.
When you score your first touchdown this year, you got to throw the X up.
Oh, okay. I will.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.